conference. Now we'll begin with the conference. Now I call upon Sister Sandhya to take up the next session and begin with.
We all know that 100 South India Conference has over. Now let's start the session number 1. So in this, our Professor C.A. Shinde will be talking. And most of us know Professor Shinde personally. One-to-one we can interact with him. He is very approachable also. He is a retired zoology professor who worked at Sangli and Pune for 37 years. He is the author of 10 textbooks. He has been a life member of the Theosophical Society and rendering his services since 1975. He has conducted so many seminars, School of Wisdom, Workers Training Camp, study classes throughout India. Not only that, he is a national as well as international speaker. His many articles are published in the Theosophist, Wake Up India, Theosophical Digest, the Indian Theosophist and many other Federation journals. He has given many short talks and participated in international symposiums during international convention. He has compiled the Watchtower articles of Mrs. Radha S. Vernier, which is published as book titled The World Around Us. Now, Professor C.A. Shinde will be speaking on matter and spirit, both divergent yet needed for perfection. Welcome.
Thank you, Sister Sandhya for your kind words of introduction. In fact, we must keep our time, and it is exactly 10 o'clock. I am given 25 minutes to finish this great topic. My topic is to deal with two opposite poles, matter and spirit, and their role in perfection. Many times I quote HPV's famous statement or some verse from the Voice of the Silence that self of matter and self of spirit cannot meet. She directly says self of matter and self of spirit cannot meet, which means through spiritual self-transformation, self of matter need to be spiritualized by ethical living. Universal Brotherhood is foundation for that. Foundation for the universal morality. Morality is to be able to see oneness of life. So spirit is our inner world, as N.C. Krishna pointed out, and matter is our outer world. And man can bridge these two worlds with his intellect. Spirit, matter, and consciousness. We are familiar with these words. But these spirit, matter, and consciousness are divine limitations. As traditionally we know as Shiva Shakti Maya. This Shiva Shakti Maya in the realm of time and space. So to comprehend their relationship or comprehend their interconnectedness, Theosophy teaches us, and we are referring these books, 4 books which are referring in this conference. All of them are pointing towards the synthesis of science, religion and philosophy with the path of knowledge, path of action, path of devotion, and pass through the hall of ignorance and learning to a hall of wisdom. All these references, books which we have given for this conference, points towards the inner integration. The inner integration, harmony and order, which are essential factors for perfection. So let me focus the first slide. Because of time limit, I have prepared these PowerPoints. So what is needed is, this is what spirit, soul, body. Usually these terms are used in Christianity, spirit, soul, body. This is the constitution of man shown in different way. That spirit is upper, middle is soul, and down is body. When HPB says spirit of soul, self of spirit cannot meet the self of matter, which means in between, what is it? That is the soul. So the spirit is with his divinity, man with his divinity, he can know his spiritual world. Man with his intellectuality, he can know his intellectual world. And man with his physical sense, he can know his physical phenomenon. And higher experiences on higher plane become more real as we learn to transmute the lower. Then in one day, death itself gets transcended, and ideal, what we say immortality, becomes a living reality for us. So this diagram itself shows how we are interconnected. So perfection means, what is perfection after all? Perfection means enlightenment. Enlightenment means ability to see clearly. Enlightenment does not come through teacher, through book reading. One has to be free from the known. That book is given for you. Free from the known. How? You must become free from the known by process of unlearning and by process of letting go. So enlightenment comes through understanding. Develop your quality of understanding. Understanding is the only law that enlightens us to see clearly. What to see clearly? To see clearly activities of our own mind and also activities of the general human mind, how it works in crowd. It is to become with oneself to find out the tricks of the mind. That mind always plays and make our consciousness free from its contents. Otherwise, soul, mind, ego, they are mere word. Consciousness alone is only the truth. So what we have to understand, spirit deals with life and matter deals with the life form. So life and form, these are interconnected. In the same manner, our soul and body is an organic unity. Otherwise, how do our inner experience relate to the outer material world? The unifying theory of science integrate conscious experience with the material universe and explore order in nature that extends beyond physics into the realm of subjective experience. But our lower analytical mind divides spirit and matter. But when you raise to our higher mind, that higher mind understands and comprehends that there are not, these two, spirit and matter, are not independent realities, but they are two factors of one reality. Spirit is origin and matter is resultant. But we see them as two polarities. It is like soul cannot exist without body. Soul cannot exist without body, and body cannot align without the soul. Therefore, spirit is the ultimate sublimation of the matter. It is therefore we are advised in the Theosophy to look at our personality from the point of view of our individuality. Individuality is our real higher self, real soul, which is threefold: Buddhi, Manasa and Atma. Atma, Buddhi, Manasa is our real. And matter, when we say spirit is the ultimate sublimation of matter, then matter is the crystallization of the spirit. And when they are together as one energy, that we call synergy, and that is works as creative energy unfolding our consciousness. As we said earlier, spirit and matter are not independent realities, but are two factors of one reality. The physicist Deepak Chopra's view about this matter-energy relationship, he says as the quantum consciousness. So, when we look at this quantum consciousness, we many times quote, this quantum consciousness sleeps in minerals, wakes in vegetables, feels in plants, feels in animals, and awakes in or thinks in human being. The same thing we study in Upanishadic philosophy, which says universe is not merely composed of matter and energy, but it also includes Atman, which we call Brahma, the universal self, and knowledge. So the Upanishadic philosophy says matter and energy, Atman and knowledge, this is the central philosophy of interconnectedness. In one Sanskrit sutra, they explain it, Shivashaktyatmakam Vishwam. Shivashaktyatmakam Vishwam. Look at this next slide, how it explains that absoluteness, Shivashaktyatmakam Vishwam, whole universe is Shiva and Shakti. So from one absolute, two poles are formed. Spirit, that we call Shiva as positive, and matter as Shakti or power, a negative, and consciousness forms the Manasa principle or mind principle, which has got again triplicity, like Sat Chit Ananda. Sat is existence, Chit is consciousness, Ananda is bliss or love. On the other hand, this negative pole power, which shows its triplicity as Mula Prakriti, it has triplicity as Tamasa, Rajasa and Sattva, inertia, activity and harmony. And these Sat and Tamas, Chit and Rajas, Ananda and Sattva, they are interacting, they are balancing themselves. This is how there is differentiation of these two polar bodies, which we are studying now, spirit and matter. Though they are opposite principles, each principle gives rise to trinity or triplicity, Shivashaktyatmakam Vishwam. That is what our Upanishadic philosophy teaches us. Let us look into the another different way of understanding. This is also very nice. We can understand it in many perspectives. Let us look into this slide and understand how differentiation and subsequent integration of spirit and matter that forms the cosmos. cosmos is theos, and matter in a way is a chaos. So integration, perfection is to become actually the absolute zero. In the world of infinity, this zero has got much importance. When you look at this slide, spirit is at the one pole and what we call as the theos, with infinite number of spiritual monads. So each one of us is a monadic consciousness and it is radiating, and that shows the theos. The meaning of theos is Brahma, what we call, with infinite number of spiritual monads. They are continuously radiating. And when we see matter at the other pole, it is a chaos with infinite number of material planes, plane after plane, plane after plane, giving base for the manifestation of spirit. And when these two come together by process of differentiation and subsequent integration of the spirit and matter, cosmos is evolved. And when complete integration is there, absolute, that absolute is nothingness, that absolute is void, that absolute is black hole, that absolute is zero, from where everything originates. Once we understand this, we can also see at our disposal only two options are there for the human being. When we are thinking of enlightenment and perfection, we can be unconscious and we can be slaves of these forces which are already in the cosmos, or we can be conscious and become willing servants of these forces. So for perfection, we wish to be servants of that great light rather than slaves. It is necessary for us to try to understand the laws of nature and energies that govern the working of the cosmos, because cosmos is order and chaos is disorder. J. Krishnamurti says, just observe your disorder. That attention itself begins to bring order in you. That is what we are pointing towards the perfection. So to sum up, HPB always gives the example of lotus flower. We all know how it connects two opposite poles, spirit and matter, and how lotus flower progresses to perfection. For germination of the lotus seed, it needs soil and water as material support. It is to rise out of materiality, which means we must rise out of our inertia, tamoguna. Later on, the flower progresses through water medium. That indicates that man also needs to progress through the forces of emotion, passions, and be the master of them and not the slave, using the discriminative power. So blooming out of force of emotions and darkness of ignorance, that indicates how the flower progresses from water medium to the air medium. And then that flower must look for the light that comes within, as flower looks to the sunlight or moonlight and begins to unfold. So like that, human being must look for the light, find the light, that the guidance comes from within that light. So radiating into the world that kind of perfume of Sattva-guna. And after that, our perfection begins when we start radiating love. And last slide I would like to show here. This is very inspiring to me. It is said at the feet of the Master, those who don't know the divine plan, they work for material progress. But this material progress is only for one life only. And it is valued before you receive it. So our prime attitude should be towards the universal brotherhood, which is the foundation for the universal morality, that is to see oneness of life, and human beings are valued after you lost them. So it is better to be brotherly, affectionately, loving each other, and to form the nucleus of universal brotherhood. That is the aim at our disposal. Getting enlightened means let us be brotherly to each other. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Even short time. Time is there. No, let Vastra will take it up. No question. This is best.
Now let's have a break.